Hello again and good morning. This is the Kagylokurt magazine and we have issue number 58. Again, an editorial talk with Mr. Gezeratz. Hello, Mr. Ratz.
Greetings to everybody.
The title of your issue is Fate, Fetish and Faces. Very strong title.
Yeah, we always try to find something interesting and interrelated, and I think these topics definitely interrelate to each other. Like fate, like destiny, is an eternal question.
Yes.
And many times we follow our destiny, or we take the direction towards our destiny through following some fetish emblems in our life. And everything recurs, everything returns to us again and again, and therefore we try to discuss something about the cycles and phases of life.
And normally we relate fetish to some objects of fetish, some objects like material objects, and from your words we can feel that you have some other meanings underlying this fetish. Do you mean also some ideas or philosophy or symbolism?
Definitely correct. You are very much correct. Usually we are ready to create a fetish from practically anything that is around us, objects, symbols, whatever, because somehow they create another reality and they create a link to something hidden or something unseen that we expect to see. And in the classical traditions, especially in the different belief systems of so-called primitive tribes, they work very well. And this is a necessary part of life to have like a personal fetish in some African or and then what to speak of the voodoo magic. But actually we have created our fetish today in the 21st century also, like communication is a fetish, like possessing certain objects, it's also a fetish. And certain ideals, as you mentioned, definitely work like a demon or a fetish over us. And more or less sometimes we are obsessed by these objects or thoughts.
So fetish is like neutral. It can be both positive and negative, right?
Well, in my understanding, definitely yes. As everything depends on the proper use or improper use or misuse of the objects, things, or even our thoughts or words. So,
So how is fate related to fetish? We don't want to spoil the public's expectation, but fetish is like an invitation. And can we say that if we choose a bad fetish, we can choose also bad fate? And if we choose a proper or a higher fetish, like an ideal, we can have a better fate. Is that correct? Or
well, fetish definitely represents something. So in the archaic times, fetish represented, let's say, the subtle powers of nature or some kind of mystic or magic influence over people. They were using the fetishes for that. Today, maybe we don't spell charms, or we don't use like this type of magic practices in general life, but definitely there are objects that possess our attention. And in that respect, I agree. If we find something, even a very insignificant piece of nature, like a piece of stone, it can represent something much higher and much deeper than the stone itself. Saying that this is a positive fetish, so to say.
Does that mean that if I collect a stone from an important place and I put it on my desk, it makes a connection between me and this place?
Well, we can say that stones are very ancient pieces of this planet. So they have been around for quite a while, and in one
millions of years old.
Millions, and I heard that from Greenland they can bring you the most ancient pieces of stones available on this planet, are some 2.3 billion years old. That means a kind of information input, a very subtle information storage is there in the stones. So in this way we can connect to, well, practically eternity, because, you know, a few hundred millions of years, like in the case of fossils, for example, it's definitely beyond our understanding of time. Or let's say one lifetime is like 70, 80 years. Or what can we do with 200 million years? So through these types of fossils, stones, or fetishes, we can connect to a different layer of reality.
Very influencing, very influencing. And where are faces in this picture?
Everything, according to the organic or spiritual vision, everything returns, everything moves in cycles, like time cycles, great epochs of universal time, and also the different phases of humans, or the phases of the moon, always changing, or we can say that how the day and the night changes. So they are running after each other, and actually these phases represent again something beyond themselves. And definitely this is part of a more traditional way of approach to reality, and also, in my understanding, it is closer to a proper paradigm, a proper vision of the things happening around us.
Yeah, practically in the modern times we are all a subject of like economical and financial also cycles, and we have the market highs and the market lows. Yes. So everybody is more or less a subject of a psycho influence and of a phase, and it seems that it goes a long way back.
Definitely. My impression concerning this was a very interesting experience. Once I visited a practically abandoned ruin of a temple, and from the road passing by this ruin you have to walk like 2 kilometers in order to reach there, and there on the spot, definitely it was my feeling that a few hundred years back the road was going by the church, by the existing church. So then I started to think, and I understood that let's say in 100 years even the routes of trade or routes of traffic, they change, they shift. And by this shift of energy, what was more important in the past will lose that importance, and some new objects and new routes will gain more importance. And symbolically it meant to me that even in our lifetime we have to find this shifting attention, and from time to time we have to think and rethink our existing paradigm and approach.
Yeah. That's a great message. Thank you. And do you want to share some more highlights from this issue number 58?
Well, I think that was quite an important issue, because we also discussed the syndrome of expectation. And because we human beings, usually we are dissatisfied with what we have. Yes. And we always expect something to happen or to come or to meet or to experience. Yes. So this I call the syndrome of expectation. and it postpones perfection, it postpones happiness, either to a heavenly birth or existence later on, or to some future moments, but never now.
Yeah.
So this syndrome of expectation, people live in this expectation and they miss their life.
Yeah,
so, although these changes and even the planetary cycles and poles are changing, but nevertheless we have to find something that is permanently with us, and therefore we wanted to introduce also the topic of fate as destiny. What is the destiny? What is the goal, the ultimate goal that we shall reach? So what is the prospect of life? And there is a very nice transformation, symbolic, archaic transformation, when different heroes started to become like stars in the sky. And this is a kind of transformation. This is a kind of fate that waits for the glorious ones. And I think we all would be very much satisfied to become a star. Apart from the practice today that you can enroll the list, you pay a little sum of money, and then you can have far away, far distant planet or star named after you. But I think this is a very much watered down version of the original mythical upgrade to a planet or a star.
Yeah. Well, it's fascinating topics you're sharing with us, and thank you so much. Kagylokurt.hu, and there are the contact names. You can order magazines and older issues, and there are the names, and you can contact the persons there. So
definitely, and I suggest you to follow us on the Facebook also, because more up-to-date information you can find there.
Yeah, that's great. And you're also publishing photos, photo galleries, and pieces of articles there, and be up to date.
Sure, as we always try to show in a visual form the wisdom that was discussed in written form in the articles.
That's great. Mr. Gezeratz, Editor-in-Chief and magazine Kagylokurt, issue 58. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Creations, births, and rebirths. This is Kagylokurt magazine, issue 59. Hello, Mr. Raz. How are you?
Thank you. It's very fine today.
As an editor-in-chief and the main face and person responsible for this magazine, we would like to offer our thanks and gratitude and respect for your work and the work of your team. Thank you so much. It's an honor for us.
I'm indebted to my spiritual guide who started the magazine, and definitely to all who help in this mission, because I feel that it's still relevant after 30 years of running, because we try to contact to something eternal beyond the scope of creations and demolitions. So therefore we discuss this time rebirth and creations.
This is great. You're speaking of public longevity, and you're a spiritual magazine and 30 years of experience. That's huge.
I think so. Although compared to eternity, it's like less than a blink of an eye. But nevertheless, I think we should try to help the two ends meet, like eternity and the moment, And if we can experience something meaningful in the moment, that's a prolonged moment of ecstasy.
Oh, strong words, strong feelings. Can you tell us why creations in the plural? Why not a singular or a single? We know that creation is related to the universe, and why creations? Is it a natural or an artificial term? To what do you relate in this magazine?
Well, I think creation is, well, I wouldn't say boring, but this is a very general way to express that something happens beyond our understanding. But then why in the plural? Yeah. Because everything moves in cycles. So one creation is not enough, because if we try to separate eternity into cycles, then it should recur again. So therefore we put creations, just to show that one creation cycle after the other will repeat until the whole eternal period is fulfilled. So it also shows a kind of eternity. It also shows the different chapters of the same permanent story.
Oh. That's some time frame you give to us. Can you tell us something more about this cosmic time perspective, like space-time perspective? We have heard from the Hindu traditions, and they mean something like 500,000 years or several million. Can you tell us something more about the space time framing, and what are those periods, or were they called kalpas or something like that?
Yeah, kalpas and yugas. This is very important part of the Oriental paradigm. Their understanding of time is just amazing, and definitely the most important thing and most interesting thing for me personally was the link between the rhythms of the human body, like the heartbeat, the pulse, or the rhythm of our breath, is very much related to cosmic circles, cosmic cycles, and periods of time. So they definitely proved for me that we are part of this created whole, so much embedded in this cosmic play, so to say, that if we understand the rules and the connections, definitely we have to improve our standards morally, spiritually, or the experience of life as it is will become a much more profound experience.
Do you mean that if we research, or we are searching for insights in the macro, we'll have improvements on the micro level?
Definitely. Because if we calculate how many times we breathe per day, then ultimately we can come to the suggested, recommended number of prayers or meditations that should be done during one day. And in this way this is like a cosmic cycle, and in this way we can connect the macrocosm and the microcosm, the universal structure and the human body. And to find these parallels, it's just mind-blowing, and a very, very nice feeling that we are part of something great.
Oh, yeah. In your last issue, you were mentioning about the culmination and these expectations of an end, like 2012. People expected the world to end, and it seems that we are living in a larger cycle, so here is why it didn't end.
Correct. And therefore we introduced here a female concept of divinity, or the goddess concept of divinity, how it is manifested in the different ancient cultures, and sometimes it is missing from the present day understanding of reality. But the female side always means recurring, returning, coming again. So therefore, this cosmic, divine, female aspect is very much important, I think. And one very practical reflection on this planet Earth, in our human life and existence, is the delivery, how a child is born. It's a mystery. And therefore to provide alternatives to the approach of delivery for women, and also to provide a better or more peaceful, a more natural experience for the children who take birth like this. I think this is like a very practical interpretation of this divine eternity and divine female principle.
Well, I think that our friends, feminists, they will have now their good foundation now, right? Like philosophy. But there is more to this social concept, right? This is eternal concept or cultural, ancient idea and a complex of beliefs, practically.
Well, I think everything is connected on the metaphysical network of consciousness. Everything is connected. So if you touch one part, practically you can touch the whole issue. So therefore, delivery or giving birth to a child, it's a very natural experience in life. Yet, if we take it as a mystic initiation, then you can have a cosmic experience.
Wow.
This is what I mean, that the ends should meet, and we shouldn't miss these opportunities to experience a higher substance. But at the same time, we usually think that the life or the nature is divided by the genders, like male and female, and there is an opposition or there is a competition of the genders. But rather I say that they are necessary parts of a higher integrity or a higher synthesis. And something we introduced here in this issue is the endogenous aspect, where the male and female, the black and white sides meet and unite in a complex way.
Wow. So search and research further, right?
Definitely, because again I refer to the ancient cultures where practically everywhere they had a concept about this endogenous whole, and of course it would be very difficult to live under one roof with an endogenous person, that you cannot decide whether it's a he or a she. But therefore, this should not happen on the physical or biological platform, but rather on the psyche or the spiritual side, that the active and the passive principles, or the more passionate male side of our existence and the more peaceful or more loving female side of our soul should unite in a higher synthesis. So I take it more like the unity of the principles in our life, externally and internally also.
Yeah, great. Can we just return to time? Last question. Normally, for us as living in the West, time was divided like before Christ and after Christ. But then we opened to yoga and to Eastern traditions, and like ancient boxes and chests got open. And now we have heard about this Kali Yuga, and everybody is speaking about Kali Yuga. And how long is this Kali Yuga? What is this time frame that we are put into?
Well, there are different opinions, even in India, in the Indian tradition, about the time frame. But the most widely accepted vision of the Puranas, the actual sacred tradition that concerns this age, Kali Yuga is a few 100,000 years long, although this is the shortest of the cosmic periods. So it is definitely beyond the present understanding of our historical time. But even if we calculate in a different way, it shows that the shortest period will bring difficulties, so much so that the necessity of a new golden age will come. So what is the purpose of the age of corruption? Is the new start. So therefore this Kali Yuga, which is burdened with so many difficulties, is a very necessary part of a greater and higher cosmic and creative cycle.
Well, you just gave us a perspective 100 times greater than what we've got so far. So thank you for this not only opportunity to be informed, but also you are giving us hope, as you mentioned, this golden period and an open window, which is an invitation practically to each and every one of us.
Correct, but the golden age depends on us also, because maybe we cannot change the cosmic tendencies, or even in a smaller scale we cannot really influence the historical time that is passing, but definitely we can recreate our understanding, our approach, our inner golden age. And this is what we all can do, create your inner golden age.
That's a great finale. Thank you, Mr. Ratz, editor-in-chief, Kagylokurt.hu, and search for the print issue. It's a great thing to hold in your hands.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity, and meet you next time.
Thank you.